when I was laying the baseboard for the upper deck, sort of knowing that the station would be along here, at the very last second, I decided that I would cut this bit out of the top baseboard and make it lower. And the idea was always that it would be some kind of road level access to the station, and if I ever did get around to scenery, it would be a natural place to start. And then, like every scenic idea I have, I did nothing about it. But until I got discussing it with my friend Simon. Hello, Simon. And what Simon has, attributes that Simon has that I certainly don't have, is a bit of artistic talent, creative imagination, and a laser cutter. So Simon started mocking up ideas for what could be down here. And the first idea he had that I really liked was to have two girded bridges. I'd kind of originally just imagined having one sort of leading off to some imaginary place down there, maybe kind of in an imaginary world linking up to a car park, an overflow car park down there. But anyway, I'd had this idea for one girder bridge there, and then a road coming along here with kind of maybe a loop turning around there, coming back again with access to the station in that gap there. But he had this clever idea of putting another girder bridge on that side, so that then turns this into a kind of loop road where cars can come through one bridge, drive down the road, and end up back. Down at this level, though, it is obvious that there's a lot I need to do still before I can really start thinking about all the exciting stuff in the box that's just arrived in the post. First of all, it's too open. If there are going to be two bridges going to effectively nowhere, road bridges, well, rail bridges, I guess, with road going underneath them, going to effectively nowhere needs to be dark, and these are by no means dark. So I need to get some paneling, I guess, or something cut to go underneath kind of this side of the railway lines and block all of this off. There's a gap there that'll need filling as well, because there's quite a lot of light. If I turn the lights on below there's a lot of light bleed from there as well underneath the baseboard. So one of the first jobs is to darken all of this so that the road bridges disappear to nothing. I've already done a half decent job on filling all the holes in. I've aligned a couple of baseboards where there were, well, the baseboards here where there was a little bit of a gap. I need to look at this. There's a knobble here, and these really need to be flush, so I need to get that baseboard moved. And I also need to add some more baseboard underneath, especially over on that side, because again, if there's a road bridge way over there, the same thing effectively, then I need underneath to be blocked off again, probably at least another panel going across there, and then something underneath vertical, so that again I'm blocking all of the light, and bridges have the chance to disappear to nothing. I also need to get the paint out. I've got some grey paint. There's a couple of shades I tried for the platform tops, just to get some kind of base. This would be a residential area, so a base of grey right across here would be a good place to start, I think. Just trying to work out where the staircase on the far platform will go then. So I'm sort of trying to space it out a bit. That's representative of a girder bridge. There'll probably be some kind of parking bays down here, and then entrance parallel down there. So access for all the imaginary pedestrians would be through there. There will be another arch, about 3 along there, that will have a passageway through. And I was going to try and align it with that, but the problem with that is it's getting way too close to the far end of the platform, where really, if you've only got one staircase, I think it's going to look better in the middle. So all imaginary people will have pavements going under there and a girder bridge here. So it wants to be roughly around there, I think, on that one, which is a little bit more central as well. A little bit. These subway things are quite difficult to use as a template because they've got the lip around the top, and it really isn't much of a lip. So I was a bit scared. One thing I thought of and never did in the end was to use those little, I don't know whether they're are they screw holes if you want to screw it down, whatever they are, those holes that the light's showing up there. Just put a little Archimedes drill through each of them with it upside down, and that would give me a line to go through. But in the end I was a bit lazy, and I cut out a piece of cardboard. First of all stenciled it to the outer lips, and then just kept trimming it until it would line up. Luckily I had two hands when I was doing it, with the bottom like that. And then it's taken me, luckily I had a lot of spare painted offcuts of this. It took about 3 attempts to get close. That's not perfect, but I think with a bit of filler and repainting it'll be fine. Here's number 2, ready to cut. I marked it up and measured when it was in situ over there, but now it's time to take it down, get the drill and the saw out on it. Now I'm happy with these holes. I've just drawn through the square as a guide because I'm going to have to cut the rest of it off. There's another one over there. I don't need to be too precise with these, of course, because all the holes underneath need to be, once I've lifted the top layer off, is just bigger than the hole there. So just be generous with my drill holes, and there's no requirement to be too accurate with them. There we go then. There's a big hole, and if I get down level, it really, this is why I've struggled all along with the hardboard, because it really just chews it up. That's a lot worse because I changed the blade, because it's got 2 lots of ply to go through after the hardboard. But even with the fine tooth one, it was still chewing it up. I can sand it down, and obviously it doesn't matter on this as long as it's flat, but that's, yeah, as soon as I start drilling anything it chews upwards, which has made it really hard to work with neatly. There they both are then. They're not, neither of them perfect. This is the first one I did. I think I should have had one more practice go. There are some gaps, but I'm sure I can fill them in, and the one over there is better, but still needs a little bit of filling in. So I guess next job, really, if I come back over to this one, is to take them out and just paint everything I can inside there, because that's open as well, so I have to paint down there, and then get them permanently in, and then I can put little bits of filler in here where I need to. I've got the first parts glued down and just propped up in place here, and it's really very quickly changed how the whole layout looks, I guess. There's a bit of a prop there. I don't want to glue the girder bridge to those 3 arches yet. The 3 arches there are now glued together, just because it's all got to go down into the garden to get sprayed, and I don't want to take it as one long line down the loft ladder. So there's no connection there, so that's just being propped up. But the idea for the road is really starting to take shape. I think this will be a giveaway here, so it will kind of be presented as a through road, parking along each side, and then down to the station entrance there, and another girder bridge there, so it kind of forms a bit of a loop road. Although as soon as I mention loop road, it kind of gives me the idea for moving cars, but I just don't think that's my thing, so I'm not going to be going down that route. I'm still working on tidying up the platforms. There's still quite a lot of work to do, really. There are little bits of filler to do now on both of these, just to make sure that no light shines through tiny little gaps. And that whole, well, probably both platforms, but this one certainly needs a full repaint. I'm working on gaps at the minute, trying to just put bits of filler in and minimise how noticeable the gaps are between planks. That's coming on quite well, but I think it needs a little bit more filler. I'm also working, there used to be a white line down there, I'm also kind of making the platforms look more uniform. And then the very last thing I'll do, once both have had another recoat and I'm happy with all the gaps, the last thing I'll do is put masking tape right down the edge and put a very straight and fine white line down the platform edges. We've also been discussing what to do down at that very far end, the other side of the girder bridge. With there being 2 rails lines passing the end there, it would be a shame not to use them. So I think there's going to be again another tunnel portal, a girder bridge over where this class 37 is about to go under, and some kind of wasteland and fencing, retaining wall behind the wall, well, where the trucks are passing, and then some kind of wasteland, and just make it decorative so that the trains passing at that level are part of the scenery. I have to say, this has massively inspired me towards really starting on the scenic work. The layout seems technically complete now. I don't really find myself having to mess with wires anymore, so it's really coming to a point where my focus is scenery, and this, you know, having this suddenly appear has been a massive motivation. But I've so much more to do. I've got to block out everything under here effectively. There's got to be some kind of panelling underneath so that when trains, as this 37 is about to demonstrate, disappear under that portal there, they just disappear. And this road area here needs to be as dark as possible, so it just seems like the road disappears under a long tunnel. I've got lots of options on different frontages for these various, I don't know, establishments is the best way to describe them. I've got ideas already kind of around maybe a gym for real dedicated bodybuilders that would be bricked up and you couldn't really see inside it, or maybe an entrance down the side. A gig venue where we've sort of discussed having kind of different types of flashing lights depending on whether they've got a nightclub event type thing or a live gig on. Maybe a pub further down and a greasy spoon. Lots and lots of ideas, but all of this area where it's visible, where the rear is visible, needs to be somehow blocked off, which is something I'm working on now. And then we go all the way down the end of the road where the station entrance is. Another really clever idea he's come up with, if I come in here, is there's a box behind the arch for this one. And the idea is you would put, because this one might have a clear window type frontage, there's the kind of the framework and some acrylic there as well, to give it a glazed look. You might want to put something in there to give it the look of something that's actually used. So he's come up with these boxes that are actually, if I'm very careful, removable. And you just bring this box out, put your LEDs in it if you want lights in it, and whatever else might make it look like it's actually occupied and lived in, and then just slip it right back in again to make it look occupied. And I think I'll stop it there. Like I said, I'm really motivated and I'm getting lots done at the minute. My next job, I've got some test ballast sat downstairs on some track, just drying off to see how I like it and make sure I'm doing that right. And then my priority is to get the area again where those wagons are just going through, all ballasted right up to what will be a tunnel portal there, because that'll form part of the scenery for everything that'll come down here, but also then get it all down right along here for the station, which I think will be a big step forward as well.